the victory over QPR was an important one. We needed it at home. Different type of performance from us. We had to fight and scrap in the main to get the points that we wanted, and defended our goal really well. And then against Coventry, I felt it was a really tight game. Second half, we started the game probably the better team, and one mistake was determining the outcome of it. But then I was really pleased that the lads didn't let their heads drop. We spoke about that when we get a little bit of adversity, especially at home, to not come away from the plan, to keep trying to be positive. And I felt we did that, kept going right until the last minute, but unfortunately just didn't quite have enough to get anything from it. But the effort was certainly there.
You've used a couple of formations over the last few weeks. How important is it for the players to be able to adapt to different game plans and formations? Yeah,
it's so important because not every opponent that you play is the same. Certain teams have really dangerous forward players, so you might have to think about how defensively solid and organised you might have to be. And in other teams you'll feel as though you can take advantage playing a different way. So yeah, it's that's what the role of a coach is, to try and get the players understanding what the messages are in different systems, but we'll never go away from our key fundamentals, what we always say, the non-negotiables. If you come back to them, then it doesn't matter what system you play.
There were a few changes for the last game. How challenging is it for you to try and pick your best team but also do something that's not going to risk players in terms of injury?
Yeah, so you've got to be mindful of that, and especially when you've got 3 games in a week, 3 really tough games. It wasn't a good idea for us to keep asking people to keep playing, to keep starting, because as I say, you run the risk of them getting injured, and at this stage of the season we can't afford anyone to be injured, so we need everybody in as peak condition as possible. So yeah, that did play a part in our last team selection, but overall it's just important that you try and pick a team that you think's going to win. I felt the team that we picked against Coventry had an opportunity to win that game, and as I say, the performance was fine, just the result went against us. Every game is a different game, and you have to learn what you can from them. So what we did learn from the weekend, we started with one system and then we changed to another one and got better in the game. We grew into the game and looked more as though we were a bigger attacking threat, I suppose, in the second half. So yeah, it's I understand that we can do that. We can adapt and actually have an improvement in performance. So that's key as well.
How are we looking on the injury front at the moment?
Fine. We had Mmaee obviously missed out in the game last week with a thigh injury. Last minute he had a bit of a fitness test on the Saturday and it still wasn't right. He hurt his thigh on the Friday before in the training session. So he's going to be unavailable probably for the next 2 to 3 weeks. And apart from that, we're okay. Daniel Everson, who missed out last week as well with a dead leg, is available this week. He's trained, so yeah, that's the only issue.
A few first team players played for the under-21s on Monday. What was the thinking behind that?
Game time. I think it's important that when you get asked to play in the first team, you're up to speed. So it shouldn't ever be seen as you're playing for the under-21s as a punishment, because it's not. You only have to look at Nathan Lowe played a couple of games for the 21s and then started in the first team. Tyrese Campbell did similar against Man City not too long ago, got up to speed and then played. And that's the message to all the players. It's still a game. They're playing in the same system as what the first team are playing, and the same roles and same responsibilities apply. So I sat with Andre Vidigal on Tuesday and went through his clips with him to help him, because he just played in a game and hopefully he benefits from that.
Have some of the performances given you food for thought for Saturday?
Well, as I say, both lads applied themselves really well. Andre scored a goal and got 2 assists, could have done a few other things slightly differently and slightly better. That's what we spoke about. And Tyrese Campbell played 90 minutes, which is the first time he's done that for a long time. So they're both up to speed and available for selection, yeah.
In terms of Cardiff, what sort of test will they pose?
A tough test. I know they're not in brilliant form themselves at the moment, but they're still a good team. They still have real threats at the top end of the pitch. The forward players, when they get into the final third, are dangerous, and they're a huge threat from set pieces. So yeah, we're going in there knowing it's going to be a bit of a battle. I say 2 teams who aren't in brilliant form, and whichever team can probably start the game well and get that momentum and build a bit of confidence will probably do well out of it.
What do we need to do to try and get a positive result?
Be us. Try and take the ball, try and pass the ball better, defend well, better than we did in the last away game, because we were out the game pretty much even in the first half an hour. So that'll be a focus to make sure that we're in the game. and then once we're in the game and we're settled, can we cause Cardiff a problem? Like, we think we've been doing okay with the ball, we're getting to some dangerous areas. Now it's time for us to start making the most of them opportunities that we're getting.